When you get a superior performance like this, all the prep work done by the actor is reflected in every facet of the presentation. You hear it in Arthur's vocal nuances, that cackle that culminates in a gag and always happens to show up at the most inappropriate times. You see it just in the way he sits in a chair, for example, as a guest on the talk show sitting next to De Niro, just jiggling his leg like a hyperactive teenager about to misbehave in school. And misbehave he does. The expression on his face after the violent explosions, that combination of almost sexual relief with a look of childlike wonder at the mess he just made, with just a flicker of apprehension in the darting eyes at potential repercussions to follow. And Phillips does well to keep the camera on the actor's face, both during and after the attack. So it's all there. It's all real, it's authentic, it's multifaceted. And, this kind of method acting, for lack of a better term, at its worst, it can be uniquely horrible and also very boring. But in the hands of an artist like Phoenix or Robert De Niro, when he cared, or Daniel Day-Lewis, you do get these special presentations. You almost have to be a little out of balance psychologically to pull this kind of performance off. Now, the role has to be right. I mean, Arthur Fleck, Travis Bickle, Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York. These are extreme, high-intensity characters. And Phoenix, during filming of Joker, walked off set a number of times because he just lost it. He lost self-control and needed to compose himself, to the confusion of his castmates who thought maybe they'd done something wrong. If you've ever seen The Birds from 1963, which, like this film, it's not a masterpiece, but it's probably Hitchcock's last worthwhile film, the best scene is when the lead, Tippi Hedren, is sitting outside a schoolhouse waiting for her teacher friend. And it's one of these classic wordless Hitchcock sequences, kind of like the crop duster scene in North by Northwest, or the shower scene in Psycho, where gradually, ominously, a bird or two, and then 10, and then 50, and finally hundreds of crows gather behind her in the playground as it slowly dawns on her that they've gathered for an attack on the children. So something analogous, not as extreme, but a similar dynamic happens in this scene at the Manson Ranch, where Brad Pitt slowly approaches the shack to check on his friend Bruce Dern. He looks back, and there's maybe 7 or 8 of the cultists behind him, where there were only 3 or 4 before. He walks a bit further, looks back again. Now there's 12, then 15, and so on till the path back to his car is completely blocked. And you realize that Pitt's reward for negotiating whatever might be waiting for him in that shack will be the challenge of making it back to his car in one piece. It's a very good scene. So the two big races in the film are the Daytona 500 in Florida, and then there's Le Mans itself, and in both races, the editor, Michael McCusker, mixes his shots beautifully. It's like watching a master boxer mix his punches. You get terrific low-angle shots, almost at road level, behind the cars. You get nice wide overhead shots with the camera moving sometimes with, sometimes against the cars. You get interior shots from the pit. And the thing with Le Mans, it's not like other races. There's no track per se. The cars drive around 8.5 miles of pretty rough, ungraded country road. And so the race, from a visual standpoint, is never dull. And since it's 24 hours, you get that contrast of brilliant daylight shots with rainy shots in the dead of night. So the editing and the photography are top-notch. And again, this is coming from someone with only the most basic knowledge of race car driving. And pretty much the highest compliment I can give these scenes is they made me want to learn more about race car driving, about the drivers themselves, about the cars. They made me want to see some live races on TV. So to me, that's high praise indeed. What makes Peckinpah's films stand out for me, even the lesser ones, is this incredible honesty about human beings. He has an almost maniacal determination to show the darker side of our species, to explode any idealistic or romantic notions about Homo sapiens. Almost no one in the Wild Bunch is presented as wholly good or pure. There are the bad and the less bad. And I think, the least bad people as presented are the residents of that Mexican village where Angel grew up. But even there, we learn that Angel's girlfriend has deserted him to go off with the evil Mapache, and the villagers make it clear that she was happy to do it. And later we discover that Angel's own mother has betrayed him to Mapache, leading to his torture and death. So Peckinpah pulls no punches in his depiction of human corruption, including children. One of the first things we see during the opening credits is a group of children smiling and laughing. It seems innocent, and then it's revealed that they're torturing a scorpion. They've placed a scorpion on a pile of red ants, and they ultimately set that whole pile on fire. It's striking, it's disturbing, it's also a brilliant metaphor for what's to come. And, as far as the film being some sort of love letter to Trump, I don't see it that way at all. What I see is the latest in a very long line of films going back decades that take the media and the press to task, including the aforementioned Shattered Glass Network from 1976. That film takes a more humorous, kind of absurdist approach. There's a Billy Wilder film called Ace in the Hole that attacks sensationalist media. Actually, Citizen Kane does that as well. But according to much of the media, there's something kind of suspicious or downright nefarious going on with Richard Jewell. The Philadelphia Inquirer, for example, they headlined their review, quote, "Richard Jewell is the movie America doesn't need right now." Okay? If you substitute the words "the media" for "America" in that headline, that would more accurately represent how they see this. Richard Jewell it's an honorable film that effectively dramatizes a true story that people do need to hear. And I think that the media's discomfort with it indicates that Eastwood hit a nerve.